Hey class, this is the lesson for Tuesday, April 14th. We're gonna wrap up what we've learned so far in the semester during the regular chapters before we get into the subtopics, which are a little more interesting in my opinion. So just gonna recap what we've learned and how you can be more media literate and things like that. If you guys have any questions about the group projects, please email me, let me know. All right, so to recap, so far we have developed good knowledge on media industries, media audiences, content and its effects. You have begun to internalize information as we have discussed and gone through examples. The next step for you is to develop a strategy to continue your awareness. By doing this, you can further gain control over the media's influence for you. Note there is no one strategy. Everybody's going to have different strategies. Strategies for media awareness will be based on personal needs, but here are 12 guidelines everybody should follow to help you consider how to control the media's influence and what you should do. Sorry, let me present this. So the first thing is you should strengthen your personal locus. What does that mean? Personal locus is your awareness of goals along with the desire to get information. So you have to decide what makes you happy now. Is it sports? Is it silly cat videos? Is it memes that make fun of or make light of the serious situation we have because of COVID-19? And you need to think about what makes you happy in life in the long term. Is it going to be refocusing your life because you want to start a family and get married, because you want to be successful in whatever career you choose, or because you want to travel and other things? Then we need to think about how these goals have been shaped by the media. Um, do I want to travel because the media has influenced me? I think for me, that's completely opposite. The media has not influenced me at all. The media has made it seem that traveling is unaffordable and very expensive and a hard thing to do. Or do I really want to become this career because the media told me it's successful? Do I really want to become a doctor, lawyer, etc.? Because I really want to do that. I want to help people, or am I just becoming it because the media has shown me this is the top career you could be? There's other successful careers you could engage in. Are your role models real people? Are they your family? Are they your friends? Are they somebody in your community who stood up and is helping out during this time? Or are they media celebrities like the Kardashians? And that could be your role model. Maybe you like something. Kim Kardashian recently advocated for the release of certain people of color. Maybe you are look up to her because of that. Maybe you look up to her for your fashion sense. Again, for her fashion sense. Um, who knows? It's all personal. It's up to you. Another way, and also, am I reverting to easier messages? I think this is something that we've all reverted to, and especially I'll show you how for me. Am I just watching clips of sports on Instagram as opposed to reading Sports Illustrated magazine? We all have to be aware that different forms of media require different mental effort, and you may be choosing an easier one. So for me, when it said there was lockdown, what am I going to do? I have a lot of books I want to read. I have a lot of writings that I want to get done to probably get published. And I said, oh, this is a perfect time to do that. And I haven't read one book. It's been a month in. I haven't read one page of one book. I've been taking quote unquote the easy way out and just watching shows because I just want to be so distracted by everything. And it's up to you. There's been a lot of memes, you should come out of this with a skill or something. There's been a lot of other memes saying, no, it's okay. Take your time. You don't have to do anything. This is a time where you need to be into yourself. So again, that's going to vary for different people. A lot of people are going to hustle and create blogs and write their books, and other people are just going to survive, and that's okay. Second thing is you need to focus on your personal usefulness as a goal. Are you exposed to messages? As you expose to messages, you need to ask yourself, whose needs am I serving most? Did I seek this message, or am I just watching for whatever reason? I want you guys to, I'm just going to show you the beginning of the video. The link is going to be on Blackboard. So at this point, I want you guys to pause this video and go watch this entire clip. And then when you come back, I'll talk about it, which is now. This is a little weird. I don't want you to see this. This video is so important. I don't want you to see this actual video embedded. I want you to see it like really nicely in YouTube. So after you've paused and came back to this lecture, what does the video tell you about society? It tells us that the media makes everything as happiness. Every single product is curtailed to make us feel happier, from cars to phones to clothing and things like that. I remember my own personal experience. I was so into Nike limited edition Nike sneakers that I had wasted so much money in them. And I mean, they were cool, but it didn't really get me happiness like when I found traveling. And I always encourage people to travel. I actually sold a lot of those sneakers for thousands of dollars. And went to travel, and it does not compete. The experiences that I've had traveling have changed me tremendously, have made me see a broader view of the world, as opposed to having a stack of sneakers that nobody's even going to see in my room. Moving on, we need to develop an accurate awareness of your exposure. So as the book suggests, every year you should keep a media diary for 1 week and monitor your changing interests and ask yourself a few questions. Some of those questions are, am I broadening my exposures? Am I broadening my exposures to different media and different media genres? So maybe I should watch a documentary on PBS about lowrider car culture in East LA, as opposed to watching the Fast and Furious. One is going to get me a lot more cultural insight than a movie that's just there for you to generate ticket sales. And you should always try to expose yourself to different websites, artists, shows, etc. You will probably end up hating most of it, but by doing so, you're giving yourself at least the opportunity to find a better message. Maybe the Washington Post is better than the New York Times, or maybe the New York Times did a bad job writing an article, and that would be the subject of your next media media blog. If not, views will be narrow. If you only get your news and information from one source, you're going to be your views are going to be very narrow. A good example for this that's easy to do, I think I've mentioned this already in class, is the end of year list, especially for music, for movies. I mean, you could Google right now, top movies to watch on Netflix. They even have one that I saw from like the New Yorker, which is like an artsy version. Some of the movies, I was like, I don't want to watch any of these movies. All these movies are bad. Maybe you might like those types of movies. But you should give your chance to see what's in these lists, what's in the top albums of the year. Maybe you'll find one of the best artists that you've never discovered before and that you love and you're now a fan of. And you would never know that if you don't differentiate. And it makes it easy. Spotify and all these programs make it easier to go through easy playlists that have a lot of different genres and artists. That it would have been way harder, we're only spending $10 a month. Imagine back in the CD era, I'm not going to spend $15 for a new CD I might not even like. So take advantage of that, especially with the music. You need to acquire a broad base of useful knowledge. What is useful knowledge and what is non-useful knowledge? I'm mentioned this so many times in different classes. I don't know if I mentioned about useful knowledge in this class. So knowledge that isn't useful to you is not helpful. So here's an example. Oh yes, my grandfather again. My grandfather's always watching these UFO shows on History Channel and things like that. He's never going to do anything with that. It's useless information for him. It's entertaining for him, but the information he gained from there is useless. Now, if my grandfather all of a sudden started watching the marine biology shows or Shark Week and was determined to go snorkeling or scuba diving with these animals he's learned so much about through these shows, that's a useful knowledge. He doesn't even leave the house, so that's never happening. And there's always a gap between the knowledge we have and the knowledge we need. What do we need? What do we need to pass this class? What do we need to learn something else? What do we need to fully take in this movie or this book? And we can close that gap. And the internet makes it easier than ever. There's so much information. For all we can say, for all the junk that's online, there's so much useful information. And I'm sorry if you guys are getting annoyed by me always bringing up the travel examples, but it's the way I can relate. So if we have a high interest in a topic, right, I can look it up. So I want to look up going to Mexico. I can look up where's the best places in Mexico to go, where's the best food, where's the best valley, where it's safe. And I can see, especially with Instagram, we have these accounts that I bookmark a lot of places. Like, wow, I want to go there. And that's, even in a sense, it's like a shallow way. Like, maybe some people just want to go to take the photo, but I want to go there to enjoy the view. And yes, I take lots of photos, but I've now made it a personal thing to, if I go to some place really spectacular, I'll put some music on and I'll put the phone away and I'll just sit there for 5 minutes and like fully take it in, because I'm never going to go there again, probably. But if we have low interest in the topic and the media tells us what it is, the media is going to tell me Mexico is bad. There's nowhere to visit. You're going to get kidnapped. My grandfather told me when I went to Mexico, we're not going to pay for your ransom if something happens to you. And the media tells us that all Mexico is bad, when in reality that's mainly northern Mexico by the border with the U.S. and certain parts in the south. And we have to think about the reality fantasy continuum. You need to constantly ask yourself, what am I watching? Is it reality or fantasy? And it's obvious that things like Game of Thrones and Harry Potter are fantasy, but other messages aren't so obvious. We have How I Met Your Mother, we have Friends, etc. And even going back to that travel thing, looking at people's Instagram, they're getting paid for that. That's in my own realm. It's fantasy. I'm never going to get paid to go stay at this, 5-star resort. Like, sorry for the travel examples again. Everybody wants to go to Bali and have this pool where the food gets delivered on them on a floating tray. I went to Bali and I could not afford. Those places are expensive. So I could probably afford an extra week of travel or have that photo on Instagram. So you have to decide what's reality and real and fantasy for you. And it's never just reality or all just fantasy. All shows are a mix of both, but some are fantasy elements, fantasy with reality elements combined. Very good show, Black Mirror. It's almost scary, things that they predict, not what hasn't contributed yet, but how they show the reality that could happen in the future. Thinking about this is especially important now with reality TV shows. Reality TV shows are not 100% real all the time. They have a lot of fantasy elements, and some are realer than others. Here's a list of that. So, fake 90 Day Fiance. Why is 90 Day Fiance fake? And it's a good show. I like watching the clips. I don't know if I showed you the clip in this class or in my other class. There was a girl who used this website in Ukraine that American men, men from all over the world want to find a quote unquote attractive Ukrainian woman. And the guy from the US had sent this girl in Ukraine thousands of dollars and had never even seen her. So this show is insane. The production team scripts a lot of the scenes. So it's not 100% real. Hoarders, that's real. There's no such thing as the Amish Mafia. And yes, all these are real reality shows that aired on TV. Mythbusters is real. Storage Wars was kind of staged. So, I mean, somebody might watch one of your family members, somebody might watch a show and say, hey, I'm going to buy one of these storage containers for how much? Maybe I'll strike gold, when in reality, they're just wasting money. Matchmaker, I don't even know what this is. Reality shows are changing so much. I wish there was another article about the Netflix ones. Pawn Queens was fake. Anthony Bourdain, very good show, very good travel show. RIP to him. Love Island, a lot of these things are staged. It's meant to be real. I mean, we have Love and Hip Hop, and some of those things, they appear staged. I don't know. Divorce Court, this was weird. I didn't know the Divorce Court was kind of staged. They played me on that one. Real, Deadliest Catch, that's real. There's no such thing as Alaskan bush people. And I think the last one, Cops, is real. All right, we shouldn't avoid fantasy elements. Hold on one second. We shouldn't avoid fantasy elements in media because they're enjoyable. We just have to, they provide an escape and stimulate us creatively. But we have to be careful and know that we aren't emulating fantasy life. We have to examine our mental codes. We have to periodically ask ourselves, why are my media habit exposures this way? Who's programmed my habits? Was it you or the media? Am I serving my needs or the media? So here's the thing, why am I always watching these Tasty videos when I don't even cook? And if you don't know, Tasty is owned by BuzzFeed, and they're genius because now you can go into Walmart and buy all these quick cooking gadgets and products that you probably won't even use. You might make one, I don't know, ridiculous pancake product or something and spend how much money and give them how much money in views. Let me know in the discussion, have you guys ever made any tasty video products, especially now? How many people have made that coffee with the foam in it? If you know what I'm talking about. Like, you need to examine your opinions. Are my opinions consistent with one another and also my behavior? One inconsistency is between TV shows and exposure. This show is trash, but I'm going to watch it anyway. Yeah, so what does that even mean? Like, I know some shows are trash, but they're entertaining, and maybe I'm gonna go read my novels later on with hard word, but for right now, for 30 minutes, I want to see this trash show. The Roper Center for Public Opinion Research with NBC in the 1980s found that a few survey participants said there were sex and violence on shows like Dallas and Dukes of Hazzard. These were the biggest shows in this time. And these are the shows that had the most complaints from religious organizations. They were saying these shows are bad for kids, they shouldn't be on TV. But when asked overall of TV sex and violence, 50% of participants said too much. So even though a lot of people said there's so much violence in media and TV, when people were questioned about the shows that were critiqued about this, they didn't really find it. So we have to be careful. Of course, religious organizations are always going to complain about the content. We need to change our own behavior. Do your behaviors correspond with your beliefs? Do you think society is too materialistic? Do you avoid buying too many goods? So in a survey, 82% of Americans believe that most of us bought and consume more than we need. So do we really need 200 breakfast cereal flavors in a supermarket? I think if they're good, I mean, they come out with good ones. I don't know what's the waffle crisp or whatever, cookie crisp. Those are good, and I'm gonna try a new one, but I'm probably gonna stick back to the OGs, Lucky Charms, and things like that. Do we need a new iPhone every year? Is it such a big upgrade that we need to spend $1,000 on it? Maybe not. I mean, maybe if your phone breaks, but that's what the media tells us is successful. I mean, we see all the celebrities with the newest iPhones, and we think that's what success is measured in products, like the video we saw with the rats. So changing your behavior to correspond with your beliefs demonstrates commitment to more responsibility of following through on your beliefs rather than simply doing nothing and blaming others. So I think I have it here. We'll go back to it. There's another thing later, but you shouldn't just blame the media. The media has numbed me down. It's the media's fault. Media is hyping up COVID-19. Media is scaring us. Media, for the most part, is doing their job. There's no conspiracy theory to the people are saying that they're trying to scare us. And there's a lot of journalists, if you guys know, can speak to journalists, they will tell you what it is. They're not going to do that. And you can boycott. Remember, we mentioned the boycotts. And although a personal boycott won't really affect the media, even if we all as a class said, we're not going to go on Facebook, it's not going to do anything. But you should still do it. It should still be a personal choice. I can cancel my subscription. I can write letters and I can tweet that the show is really bad. And I should do so not because I want to bring down the network or the show, because it's important to me. If I don't like, I know I followed a few Instagram celebrities. I follow a few friends that were already putting conspiracy theories, and I thought more highly of these people. And just because I lose them, it's not going to do anything. They still have thousands and millions of followers. But for me, I feel better knowing that I'm not following somebody that doesn't align with what I believe in. We should make cross-channel comparisons. There are different skills in reading a magazine versus watching a comedy on TV. If you look at the news on the internet, or do you look at the news through a local paper, there'll be differences and similarities. Ask yourself, is it really important? Am I getting the local input on national story, or am I just getting an AP story? I mean, the New York Times has done a fantastic job with the COVID-19 coverage, but they're not really going to go in and tell me how many people in my town in Long Island have the disease, which is what I really want to know at a local level. And so that's why Newsday and even like smaller publications have done a great job at that. And there are clear differences with social networking sites where you not only look at the messages, but create them. Facebook, Instagram, any social networking site, we create the messages. me just move my face. You have to become more skilled at designing messages. So warning for all you guys, Facebook, you design your page and then you update with the messages you want. You know how this all works. Same with a portfolio site, same with LinkedIn, same with anything else. And you only want to showcase your best work. And as you're sharing social media, you should, no matter what social media sites you have, you need to think about, what are your friends going to think if I post this? What are your future employers going to think if they saw it? You never know how connections work. Maybe you post something that you have limited friends that can see. Maybe somebody knows somebody or somebody and they screenshot you and you're in trouble. Don't take your privacy for granted. Again, guys, if you have things on your Facebook, Instagram stuff, I'm not saying you should not be social. I'm not saying you should not go out and post pictures of you hanging out, drinking, but you maybe want to block that or change the settings. Even though everybody does it, right? Everybody goes out, everybody has wine and drinks, but these employers might get a certain image of you in their mind and disqualify you for something so common. It's really petty how much HR managers and future employers judge you and can judge you so quickly online. So remember, everybody should Google themselves, make sure everything is seen. And maybe you want to be open. I have my Instagram open because I want to hopefully get tons of followers with my travel photos and never have to work again to get sponsored or whatever. So years ago, our media our media use was private, right? Remember when we used to rent those blockbuster movies or read a book? That was private. Nobody knew what we consumed. Now everything is out there. And now it is tracked in detail and sold to advertisers or anyone who wants to buy. I'm not going to open this link because we talked about it. The first link about buying your data is the Cambridge Analytica, and you're going to see the movie at the end of the semester on Netflix. Moving on, we control who sees web pages, blogs, tweets, and snaps. But companies can make copies, repackage, or sell to others. You guys remember when there was this whole thing? It happens every once in a while. You'll see like your friends posting, I do not give permission for Instagram to use my photos. That's nothing. That doesn't work. When you signed up for Instagram, you already signed up for a lot of leeway and control. And it always comes up again, oh, they're going to sell my photos. I took this beautiful travel photo. They're going to sell it to a magazine and I'm not going to get paid. And we're not going to read the conditions when we sign up. It's too long. Nobody ever reads that. You can Google it and find a condensed version, but just know when you sign up for all these sites, you're giving a lot of your information away. And it has recently come up with TikTok. I know a lot of you guys are fans of TikTok, but it's so bad. So the thing behind this TikTok, I don't know if I should say scandal, but TikTok is owned by a Chinese company that shares a lot of its data with the government in China. And they take a lot of data from you, a lot of things, even what you're using outside of the app. Recently, the US government has banned not only military members from having TikTok, but also the family members of military members because of the fact that their information could be stolen. So it's getting up there, the stuff that's happening behind the scenes with TikTok. Let me know if you heard about this or what you think in the discussion. And you have to be super, super careful, especially all you guys working in media and communications, PR, and things like that. Your whole reputation could be ruined. And even maybe you believe racist, crappy things, keep it to yourself. You shouldn't, but if that's how you feel, keep it to yourself. Make sure even friends that you tell are not going to shout you out and get in trouble. So here's what happened to this lady. I forgot when this happened. In 2013, Justine Sacco. She was 30 years old. She was a senior director of corporate communications at IAC. So at 30 years old, she had a pretty big title. She probably made lots of money, upwards of $100,000. But she was making stupid jokes when she was on the plane to travel. First joke was stupid, but it wasn't that bad. So here it is. Weird German dude. You're in first class, 2014. Get some deodorant, whatever. She shouldn't have said that. And then next one, chili cucumber sandwiches, bad teeth back in London. So she's basically alluding to people in London have bad teeth. She shouldn't have said that. But check out the next tweet. It was blatantly racist. It says, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding, I'm white. So I'm going to link this for you guys in the links, how one stupid tweet blew up her life. That was the last tweet she said before she went on this like long transatlantic flight. She put her phone on airplane mode. And when she got off, when the plane landed, she was fired from her job. She was retweeted. She was ridiculed. Her friends were calling her like, "Where are you? What did you do? Why did you do this?" Her whole life was ruined because of this. And she should have known better. That's what could happen on social media. So before you post, think about what the people can see your posts are going to think. What is your family going to think? Especially for you guys in college, if you're in college and your family is paying for your education and you're constantly posting you getting drunk at the bar or at whatever party on the weekend, they're going to think, what am I wasting my money on if this person is not going to follow through? They just think your expensive education is to party. Maybe keep it on the low and don't post it and keep up your grades. All right, moving on. We have to take personal responsibility for the messages that are come to us. So don't be this guy. So an obese man, we probably all heard about this. An obese man in 2002 sued, and he had to be from the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx. He weighed about 270 pounds, and he claimed that his obesity was caused by McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, and KFC. I think the lawsuit was thrown out. I don't know. Yeah, so it's our actions, right? We have to take responsibility for this. Even though the people that are in the McDonald's ads are fit and look healthy, we obviously have to know for our own selves that if we eat this every day, it's not healthy. And I think an interesting thing kind of like this was, I don't know if you guys are aware, you're probably too young. There was this incident with a hot cup of coffee where a lady went through a drive-through and she ordered coffee. I forgot. I think it was from McDonald's as well. The coffee spilled on her and she got third-degree burns and she sued. And people were like, well, you know the coffee is hot. Why would you like drive with it or like uncover it? Like, it's not really their fault. But it actually was found that the temperature was too high. They had McDonald's or whatever company. Sorry, I'm misquoting the information, but you guys can Google it. It was too high. They had it at a point that after that, she won the lawsuit. She won millions of dollars, and the temperatures on coffee had to be lowered just in case there was a spill. People wouldn't get this level of burn. So according to the American Medical Association, 1/3 of all Americans are obese, and another 1/3 are overweight. That's insane. And is it the media's fault or is it the company's fault? You also have to take responsibility of how much the media is manipulating you to eat these products and how much the companies put forth into this stuff. So before I get into my next sentence, I wanted to just show you this article that's super interesting. It's basically about how much the companies employ. PhD psychologists to study behavioral patterns, scientists to study every flavor pattern and things like that. When you eat a potato chip, that has been studied to a science, the crispiness and the crunchiness, the saltiness, everything. And you should definitely read. This is an interesting article. It's a long read. If you got nothing better to do, you're tired of binging on Netflix, you should definitely read this article. But one thing I wanted to point out to you, I was amazed by this. Just go down here. This is a super long article. Lunchables. How many people love Lunchables? I, as a kid, love Lunchables. I beg my mom for Lunchables. But the scary truth behind Lunchables was that in the 1980s, Oscar Mayer could not sell bologna. People were becoming more healthy and they needed a way to sell bologna. So these people sat in a room and they came up with this thing like, oh, okay, maybe we can repackage this crappy meat as a way to sell to kids. If you read the article, it's insane. Like the cheese they used wasn't really processed cheese. It's lower than that and it's called something else. They figured that they couldn't use bread, so they used crackers. It lasts longer in the supermarket and better shelf life. They can get more money. They locked themselves in a room to figure out the direct packaging, and everything was done to promote it and protect kids. Yeah, as kids, we might be fooled by this, right? We want the toy, we want the Capri Sun. Well, not toy, the candy, we want the Capri Sun. As we get older, we have to know that's junk, and I love Lunchables, but it's insane when you read this, like everything. And they started expanding the Pizza Hut Lunchables, the Taco Bell Lunchables and everything, just ways to sell food that they couldn't. And people and governments are doing the right thing in recognizing that all the control that's going on, and they've done soda bans. I grew up in New York City, so the schools after a certain year, they could the vending machine stopped selling soda, replaced it with equally sugary Snapple. They could not sell chips and candy. They could only sell these gummy. I forgot what the thing is. These gummy fruity things or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you need to be responsible for your own self. Take personal responsibility. So so there's different levels of being media literate, right? And these are examples with different types of media exposures. So let's look at reality shows. We all like reality shows. If we have a low level of media literacy, we're gonna think it's all real. We cannot explain why you like any shows or characters. I love the drama. I love the fighting. Blah blah blah. If I have just a slightly bit of higher level of media literacy when I'm watching these shows, I'm gonna feel connected to a character. I'm gonna live vicariously through them because I know my life is boring and I'm never gonna be trapped on an island trying to win $1 million. And others want to behave like popular characters. I want to be curvy like the Kardashians. I want to date rappers like the Kardashians and so forth. What's an even higher level? Remember, as we talked about before, nobody can be completely media literate and nobody can be completely unliterate when it comes to media literacy. So I'm going to talk about the shows with others. I'm going to maintain friends that wouldn't have without the show, and I'm going to use the media to attain my social goals. Sometimes we even have to be aware that, watching popular things like the Super Bowl, even when you have this office environment. I remember I don't care for sports at all. And when I worked at NJ.com, everybody was into sports. And I was kind of like almost an outcast because I didn't. And it almost got to the point like, should I watch sports so I can make more friendly coworkers or anything like that? That's something that you have to decide for yourself. So even the highest level, I'm going to use in-depth analysis. I'm going to know that editing enhances action. I'm going to appreciate the things around them, and I'm going to have a deeper understanding of the world with the show. So it's not saying that you should stop watching the show for your enjoyment. Just be more aware of everything. Um, okay, I was looking for a water bottle I don't have. Facebook. Let's look at a low level of media literacy on Facebook. I'm only uploading things I think are cool. Here it is. To achieve more friends and likes. Don't you know somebody who's just you? I went somewhere one time. I was with a travel buddy. We were eating in a cafe, and the guy just like at the next table, just randomly, "Hey guys, are you guys travelers too?" I mean, you could tell we didn't look the same as everybody that lived there. Yeah, yeah. We spoke to him for like 10 minutes, and he's like, "Do you guys have Facebook?" I felt weird, like I don't know you. Like you want my Facebook? And you could see when you got his pages, he was just adding everybody he could get. I think Instagram too. We all know people who just want to achieve insta fame. And some people just want to be superficial with people they don't even really know. An even higher level of media literacy with Facebook. I improve my level of content. I take pride in increasing likes and friends. At the highest level, people are very strategic in their use of Facebook image to attain personal goals. They're reinforcing their key friendships. They're potentially talking to love. They're talking to potential love interests, or they're showing their skills to potential employers. And very selective of what they post, as to not change an image of them. Facebook has been very good with allowing you to control what other people see. I know that I've created a group for my family, and only those people can see it, and so I'll post crazy things. But I try to stay pretty calm. I have a lot of journalist connections on Facebook, and I don't want people to judge me about what I post. And you shouldn't. You should be careful and aware that see who's following you and things like that. And that's pretty much it. Next week we're gonna go. I'm sorry, Thursday we're gonna go into more like subtopics. Is the media too violent? Is the media owned by too many people, by too few people, and things like that. I hope you guys are doing good. Look forward to reading your discussions and talk to you soon.